law of the ancient. Yahuah words are sacred, he's so patient. Broken from language, broken from everything that we've known. We broken, we spiritually broken, replace that void with sound. We mama practiced at home, but boy, she sang in them churches, trying to sing out her pain. It's like we spiritually hurting. I see my people with curses, content to live with no purpose, and we all seem to fight. It's like a circus, I know, but we can party for show and get fresh and go. It seems the cares of the world is more important to most, and even me, I'm not exempt. See, my flesh can be tripping, and the choices that you make will only choose your position. You see, a fool lacks wisdom, and it shows in your actions. So if you're gone in this world, you can't see Satan attacks. It seems it's easy to rap and put it all in his songs, because my eyes see it all day long. Don't get me wrong, I love my people, but I see our issues. I see a lot. We done fell off from serving our king. I know it's not ever good to break the Father commandments. In the backdrop, how you think we ended up in this spot? And I can tell you that we all been backsliding with, all been ad-libbing with, ways that we all picked up within this prison. Yeah, who should die and risen and came to repair the vision and taught us to read Torah and play on position with the life that we given. The life that we live in the fear of Yahuah is the beginning of wisdom. Abba Father, please don't let me be caught up in the system. Let me die to myself and be caught up in your rhythm. I'm free, and when I say free, I just mean free of this Babylonian mindset. You know, because everything we believe in ain't good. Everything ain't good. Wake up, my people. Wake up. Who am I? Confessions of a wretched man, fashioned from the dirt, fell too many times to count, trying to flee this curse. Abba, help me be obedient, use me for your purpose, and one day I'll reign with you as rulers of this earth. Let your Ruach put in work and invade every person that has an ear to hear, and that ain't every person. Brothers thinking that they say because they tied to their churches. The blind lead the blind, a fool is never certain, but I keep my prayers fervent in the trials of a furnace. See the mysteries of inequity as the sun keeps burning. Left the church a long time ago, got tired of their sermons. Don't take a brain scholar, just the mind of a servant. We need a mind to be determined, a mind with discerning between good and evil. These are prices that we learning. For the like of me, I like to see the fact that we returning to the hands of our Creator, a life that we've been learning. It's on. Yeah, it's on. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Everybody's on the one that keeps up. You know I ain't lying. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Thank you, Yahuah. You're my master. Allow ya. I make music for the people to relate to. So, before this song starts, clear your mind. People say I gotta level up with my content. Don't talk about the same thing I'm listening when people say I'm not doing that I but will. My music doesn't matter, it's a hobby. He ain't got no skill. People say I irritate they soul, but they won't say it to my face. So love is what I show. I've been in this truth for a little while, and I still smile when people constantly try to tear me down. I know I'm loud, you ain't gotta sneak this, backbite and be complacent, but smile when you see me in your sight. I try my best to be a peacemaker, but always seem to end up in a fight, trying to do what's right, and even when I'm wrong, I be that light. And constantly, it bothers me, knowing I can be the one that saves my family. Living in these streets, I promise that it's damaging to see what I see, and sometimes just being me. But Christ blessed me to be the man I am, and I would never fold on the mission at hand. The kingdom gonna be worth all the pain in the end, so I can't give up, no. So I gotta stay strong for my soul, you know. Hell is hotter than cold, I had plenty dreams of going there. It really had me scared. Repent is all I say in my mind. So I live eternal or die trying. People say I gotta level up with my content. Don't talk about the same thing I'm listening when people say I'm not doing the I but will. My music doesn't matter, it's a hobby. He ain't got no skill. People say I irritate they soul, but they won't say it to my face. So love is what I show. I've been in this truth for a little while, and I still smile when people constantly try to tear me down. I know I'm loud. People say 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 I'ma tell you what this wise man told me. Can't nobody but you set yourself free. Yeah, we fight against ourselves every day. Ain't it funny how we hold ourselves back from being great? Life is one big test. Bro, I know you struggling with that point that you watching. You addicted to what you singing, that's why you can't stop it. I know you feel like you can't change, but the devil's a liar. How about I give you some helpful tips that'll kill them desires? Consider this, them your seeds that you spilling now. The more you ejaculate, the more you driving now. All that energy you use to get your strength away, you can redirect that energy to help you create a new heaven, a new world inside of you. I studied myself and it's tried and true. Go and read 1 John chapter 3 verse 9. That's why I teach semen retention to help you align the meridian pathways up and down your spine, making way for that seed to help open your eyes. Not the physical too, but the ones in your mind. Illumination is the key to waking up the divine within. I'ma tell you what this wise man told me. That you are your own worst enemy. Can't nobody but you set yourself free. You gotta look within your soul to find the key. Yeah, we fight against ourselves every day. You know the spirit versus the flesh. Ain't it funny how we hold ourselves back from being great? Life is one big test. Ain't gon' lie, the grass is greener on the other side. But there are days where I've seen that grass catch on fire. In this battle with yourself, you gotta pick a side. Whichever one you choose to go with, that's gon' be your guide. You can't serve two masters, so one gotta die. Kill that flesh, resurrect from it, become alive. That's what I did to become the man I am today. Through self-discipline, I can finally think straight. I ain't gon' front, say it still be in my ear. Like, hey, look at here, you see that girl right there? I be like, I see, she's straight, but I'm good. Get away from me, Satan, cause I see what you doing. I done failed too many times listening to you in the past. I didn't have the strength I have nowadays to hold you back. Any thought that's negative, I just cast it away. That's a win for me, a lose for you. I live to see another day. I'ma tell you what this wise man told me. That you are your own worst enemy. Can't nobody but you set yourself free. You gotta look within your soul to find the key. Yeah, we fight against ourselves every day. You know the spirit versus the flesh. Ain't it funny how we hold ourselves back from being great? Life is one big test. Yeah. You are your own worst enemy. You gotta look within your soul to find the keys. Yeah. We know the spirit versus the flesh. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Life is one big test. So much going on today. There's so much on my mind. There's so much drama in the world today, and they make it hard to have a good vibe. There's so much wrong going on in the world, but somehow we keep it all smile. So many people in the world today didn't make it, but we made it alright. That's why we say, all praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praise. Tell me if you with me, clap your hands up. Tell me if you with me, put your hands up. And let me say, all praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. It's happy that we at it once again. Everybody around me feeling alright. We already been here all day, and we probably gonna be here all night. Clapping our hands as we dance and we sing. Everybody in here got a good vibe. Good people, good food, good drink. Came together just to have a good time. That's why we say, all praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praise. Tell me if you with me, clap your hands up. Tell me if you with me, put your hands up. And let me say, all praises to the Most High. 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 All praise. Tell me if you with me, clap your hands up. Tell me if you with me, put your hands up. And let me say, all praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. There's nothing more better when we come together. We're children of love. When we love each other, there's nothing more better. When we come together, we're children of love. When we love each other, all praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praise. Tell me if you with me, clap your hands up. Tell me if you with me, put your hands up. And let me say, all praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Praise Lord. Praise Lord. Praise Lord. Praise Lord.
Make any hour happy hour. Get free 1-hour delivery of H-E-B beer and wine when you order through the Favor app. 21 plus. Restrictions and fees apply. Delivery time not guaranteed. See favordelivery.com/promos for details.
Play that shit on TNT. It's hard to believe. After all I've seen in this life, you telling me that I was on a king. And I found a new meaning in life. I know that we've been lost all along, yeah. Lost all along, and I know that we've been lost all along, yeah. Lost all along, you know. Hey, hey, for real though. Everything that shit was fake, but this is the real though. Tried to break a young and fake, but somehow it still go. Tried to say we were the same, but we be the real goal. So you know we can relate. Touchdown with the light. Got me feeling brand new. Found the truth about my life. That was nothing nigga do. Turn my diamonds in the light. And my brothers did too. Man, it's many be called, but the chosen with the few. You decide. Christ coming back. Tell me will you live or die? Da, da, da. It's hard to believe. After all I've seen in this life, you telling me that I was on a king. And I found a new meaning in life. I know that we've been lost all along, yeah. Lost all along, and I know that we've been lost all along, lost all along, yeah. Lost all along, you know. Found my true purpose, now I'm fighting demons. Had to switch my life up, cause I'm not a heathen. I was so lost, I was in a dark season. Most I shed is light, now I move with good reason, yeah. Sin was all around and I had to run away. Sharpen up your sword, get them demons out the way. You were born a king, most I gonna make a way. Second coming soon, just be righteous in that day. You decide. is coming back. Tell me, will you live or die? No, 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 no. It's hard to believe. After all I've seen in this life, you telling me that I was on a king. And I found that no meaning in life. I know that we've been lost all along. Lost all along. And I know that we've been lost all along. Lost all along, you know.
Long Yasharal, sons and daughters of Zion. May the Most High always hold you, guide you, bless you, keep you, and protect you in all things that you are doing. That's for Yasharal. I want to say that I love you. Shalom. Okay, families. Now, we had a wonderful class, families. And families, it's going about knowing in part, but the set apart Ruach. Those that love him, the Most High will send his Ruach, families, that will search all things for you. And all this is what you're going to find in wisdom. All wisdom, families. Just knowing in part. That's why the Most High use an assembly. You know what I'm saying? Different administrations, different department offices. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's going to bring this one Ruach, families. That's going to teach us all things, families, and bring all things to truth to us, families. And it will be no lie, as it is written in the scriptures. With that being said, families, let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 2. And let's kind of prove that a little bit, just in the New Testament. Let's go. We can't go to wisdom of Solomon yet. Not just yet. Now, he had multiple daggers in this. When Paul was speaking to the Corinth, especially after he done came into the truth, families, which he thought that he always knew the truth, families. That's why he didn't hold himself accountable for what he was doing before he got that revelation. Let's go. And now, brethren, when I came to you, came not with excellency of speech or of wisdom, declaring unto you the testimony of Yahuah. For I determined not to know anything among you save Yahusha HaMashiach and him crucified. And I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much trembling, because the beginning of wisdom, families, is always going to be wisdom. The fear of Yahuah is the beginning of wisdom. Salaki on that. The fear of Yahuah is the beginning of wisdom. It's always going to be that, families. Why? Because when you go to the wisdom of Solomon, the book that they took out of your KJV, he's trying to explain this to you, families, about where wisdom come from, what it does, the work that it does for Yahuah and everything, families. She is beautiful, families, in all things that she do. She searches out all things, families, even though we might know in part. This set apart Ruach, family, that comes from Yah, searcheth all things, the deeper things of Yahuah, families, what we call a mystery, and they're going to explain this to you. Watch. And I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much trembling, and my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man wisdom, but in demonstration of the Ruach and the power. So it's always going to bring a division, a separation from the spiritual to what we call physical, families, or AKA reality. He's always going to make that distinction right there, families. And it's not going to be enticing words, what we call man's traditions, families. What we worried about TD Jakes and stuff like that, families. These false prophets and stuff like that. Jeremiah was trying to tell you in Jeremiah 23 what's going to happen to these false prophets. Let them do what they do, families. You're not supposed to entertain them type of things. You're not supposed to be all mixed up in that type of stuff. Why? Because you see the fruits of these people, man. You see the fruits, they coming out with a animalistic mindset, families, a beast mode mentality, families. That's what you see. You see they fruits, families, but that doesn't mean for you to go entertain that. When other people see it, they see it. If the Most High Yah left them with a reprobated mind, families, Yah is doing that for a reason for that certain individual. You're not supposed to be going back to darkness, a dog going back to its vomit, when he done brought you to the light. Who does that? That's lighting your candle and you putting it up under a bustle, man. You're not supposed to do that. He's clearly telling you this. Why? Because most people is too busy mixing the physical with the spirit when they are at war. That's like having an informant coming in the middle of your campgrounds, y'all. You're gonna bring somebody from the other side and come and congregate with y'all families when y'all know they finna do a Judas. Y'all know they finna do a Judas, families. Y'all know they finna do a Judas. Who does that when you supposed to? What's the watchman supposed to be for, families? Is they supposed to be guarding the gates? That means guarding your mind, families. Guarding your minds. You know how you sit there and you tell your, especially men, when you tell your significant other, your real man, quick. It's good to have your guards up, but sometimes let it loose. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? No, what you need to do is keep your guards up and be watchful. That's what you need to do. It clearly tells you this, families. People is mixing the physical with the spiritual too much. You bringing the enemies in when we behind enemy lines, but you're gonna bring the enemy from over there in the middle of the campground, families. When you know they finna do a Judas. Let's go. You remember when we went to John chapter 9 and he was telling you about that blind man and the faith of this blind man, and because he couldn't see, all he did was just believe, families. And Yahushua used spit from the ground, families, the clay, and he anointed to man's eyes, families, with this exact same minerals from the dust of the ground in John chapter 9, and put it on his eyes and anointed him, families, because man is from the dust of the ground. And then he just obeyed the orders that Yahushua told him to do. He told him to go wash himself in the pool of Shiloh. It stands for scent. Scent. That's the interpretation of it. So when I read that, I was like, ooh, he is truly revealing certain mysteries to people, families, that love him. Truly, that he's truly doing that. Watch. That your faith should not stand in wisdom of man, but in the power of Yahuah. Howbeit, we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor the princes of this world that come to naught. Yahuah is telling you you're not supposed to worry about TD Jakes and all them other people, man. He's clearly telling you that. Watch. But we speak the wisdom of Yahuah in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom, which Yahuah ordained before the world unto our glory. So when you go to Ephesians chapter 1, and he had to go to another church and tell the Ephesians the exact same thing, this is the reason why he got killed. He was tearing down a multi-billion-dollar industry, families, at that point in time. And he was with them. He was with them. Interesting. Watch this. But as it is written, it didn't use the letter I. It's telling you about where the mind be manifesting these thoughts from for you to do something that is good or evil, something that is righteous and unholy. It's going to be one of the other, families. Balances. But as it is written, I have not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man, the mind of man, that the things which Yahuah hath prepared for them that love him. This is a dagger. For Yahuah have revealed them unto us by his Ruach. For the Ruach searcheth all things, yea, the deeper things of Yahuah. So when somebody sits there and tell you because you only know in part, you're not going to know all things in Yahuah, then I can sit here and tell him, if you read it in its context, he's clearly telling you that if you love him, you will by his spirit know all things. And you will search these things. And you're going to know the deeper things of Yahuah. He wouldn't written it down if it wasn't true. He wouldn't written it down if it wasn't true. Watch. For what man knoweth the things of a man, save the Ruach of man, which is in him? Even so the things of Yahuah knoweth no man, but the Ruach of Yahuah. Now we have received not the Ruach of the world, but the Ruach which is of Yahuah, that we might know the things that are freely given to us of Yahuah. He's clearly making a distinction between the spiritual and the physical, y'all. Clearly making that distinction, families. So when somebody sit there and tells you that you know in part, yes, you only going to know in part. That way, that when you assemble yourselves together, a nation that is not desired, and y'all assemble yourselves together, families, you is going to bring all these things that this spirit, this Ruach, families, made you go search for, and you went deeper. You went and searched the deeper matters of it, families. And guess what you did? You brought these things up front, families. And you tearing down the walls of Jericho. You tearing it down, families. It's clearly telling you that. Watch this. Check this out. Verse 13. Which things also we speak, not in the words which man's wisdom teaches, but which the Holy Ghost teaches, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Ruach of Yahuah, for they are foolishness unto him. Neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. That spiritual discernment is full power, families, full degree, families. Is not going to weaken or become flawless at that point in time, families. You're going to always keep it in the spiritual aspect. You're not going to be worried about the flesh of man, because you is fighting against the spirit that's inside that individual, families. That's why the Most High Yah compared these type of people as beasts of the field. Beast. Let's go. Families, if you continue that on, families, he clearly tells you how you ain't supposed to have no judgment upon men, for who have known the mind of Yahuah, that he may instruct him with a question mark. Now you're going to follow the ways of Yahuah. How are you going to follow these ways, families? Now you got to be commanded to follow orders. These orders are laws that you are bounding yourself upon, families. And these laws are the laws of Yah. You don't have no problem for that. You're supposed to be in full submission of him anyway. So families, if he want to put laws on you, so well be it. Now, what laws you supposed to apply for? Let the Ruach send that to you, families. And then you're going to be content in your life, families, of what laws you're supposed to obey and what laws you're not supposed to obey. Worry about them laws, them commandments, families, that was put inside of the tabernacle, instead of the ones that was written on the outside. Worry about the ones that was written on the inside. That's what we get confused on certain things like that, because we go to certain precepts and we look at these things. You know what I'm saying? And we supposed to have a righteous discernment upon these things, families. But that doesn't mean that once you see something, man, you bring it straight into what we call the physical realm, or AKA reality. No, you keep it spiritual, families. Know how to move out here. How do you do that? Watch. Next precept. The Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1. So it's going to show you about wisdom, families, and what wisdom does. So when you go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, it's going to tell you all the things that wisdom is instructed or ordered to do. It is not going to disobey orders, because wisdom is very disciplined, y'all. This spirit that is called wisdom, this Ruach that is called wisdom, it's so divine, families, that it is fully disciplined. And Solomon knew this. King Solo knew this. Check this out. Verse 3. For forward thoughts separate from Yahuah and his power. When it is tried, reprove the unwise. For into a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in the body that is subject unto sin. For the holy Ruach of discipline will flee deceit, and remove from the thoughts that are without understanding. Why didn't it say the heart that is without understanding, families? Because wisdom is manifest within the mind, what we call a brain. For the holy Ruach of discipline will flee deceit, and remove from thoughts that are without understanding. It will not abide. Abide means to obey or have submission upon, when unrighteousness cometh in. For wisdom is a loving Ruach, and will not acquit a blasphemer of his words. For Yahuah is witness of his reign, and a true beholder of his heart, and a hearer of his tongue. For the spirit of for the Ruach of Yahuah filleth the world, and that which containeth all things have knowledge of the voice. Why did I go here, families? To show you that Paul even knew about this in 1 Corinthians chapter 2. But this is not in your original KJV. You're going to search out all things. Yahuah said you're going to seek out the deeper things of him. How are you going to do that if you're not even going out seeking out other things that you don't even have no understanding on, because you don't even know that it exists? And it does. It does. It's out here. Watch. Therefore, he that speaketh unrighteous thing cannot be hid, neither shall vengeance, when it is punished, pass by him. For inquisition shall be made unto the counsels of the ungodly, and the sound of his words shall come unto Yahuah for the manifestation of his wicked deeds. These manifestation and that sound, families, had to come from your thoughts. Then you spoke these words out, and you manifested it based upon the works of your deeds. Yours. So when somebody sits there and say that, oh, just because we know in part, Yahuah didn't want us to know all things, that is a lie. He's clearly telling you, families, that if you is instructed by him and walk in his ways, his spirit, which that Ruach will searches all things for you. What they call a comforter. What they call a comforter. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Make this stuff make sense, families. Watch this. Check this out. This what a lot of people be doing when they be what they call being a busybody. For the ear of jealousy heareth all things, and the noise of murmuring is not his. So those that have the ear of jealousy are those, man, that's going out there worried about what Jeremiah 23 was talking about. These false prophets, families, out here really slaughtering the sheep on the cool. But at the same time, families, you supposed to talk about the spirit that is within of these certain individuals. You get what I'm saying? Back then, they didn't have social media. So families, what they did was they went out into the public, families, and talked about the ruach that certain people, the fruits that certain people was walking like, families. Their deeds is how they was making their moves, families. It's the works of their hands, families, that they was doing. You know what I'm saying? So it's deep, because people was doing this a lot. People was doing this a lot. And the noise of murmuring is not here. This noise of murmuring, if you speaking this stuff out, families, you talking amongst other people, families, in secret congregations and stuff like this, and you speaking about these opinions, families, when you supposed to be up on the front, families, and speak about this, families. Check this out. Therefore, beware of murmuring. We supposed to beware of this murmuring. That he did not tell us to entertain this type of stuff, families. You're not supposed to entertain it, which is unprofitable. It's not going to profit you. And refrain your tongue from backbiting. But when you start murmuring, you doing what? You talking about another individual, man. You can't tell me that ain't what that means. For there is no word so secret that shall go for naught, that the mouth that belieth slayeth the soul. Now you come up with false testimonies because you really don't just, okay, so people go to videos and stuff. Well, this what this person said, woo, man. All right. So the Most High Yah brought you to that. You know what I'm saying? Leave it as is, man. Man, vengeance is of the Lord. Vengeance is of the Lord. You see that fruit, families? It's telling you to get away from it, families. Let Yah handle that, families. A lot of people's not doing that. Why? Because that wisdom has forsaken them, families. Wisdom has forsaken them. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7. That wisdom has forsaken them, families. It just sits there and says that wisdom is very disciplined, families. The Holy Spirit of wisdom is discipline, families, and it will flee deceit, families. It will flee from that. The dagger in this one will be All praises. So we're gonna start at verse 13. No, let's start at verse 12. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7. And I'm going to show you how disciplined wisdom is, families. And I rejoice in them all, because wisdom goeth before them. And I knew not that she was the mother of them. I learned diligently and do communicate her liberally. I do not hide her riches. For she is the treasure unto man that never faileth, which they that use become the friends of Yahuah, just like Abraham became the friend of Yah, the father of faith. Being commended for the gifts that come from learning, Yahuah hath granted me to speak as I would, and to conceive as is meet for the things that are given me, because it is he that leadeth unto wisdom and directeth the wise. Come on now. For in his hands are both we and our words, all wisdom also, and the knowledge of workmanship. You see how he's using wisdom that's coming from the mind, families, that's going to direct you to true knowledge, families, of workmanship, families, your deeds. For he hath given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely, to know how the world was made and the operation of the elements, the beginning, ending, and midst of times, the alterations of the turning of the sun and the change of the seasons, the circuit of years, and the positions of stars, the natures of living creatures, and the furies of wild beasts, the violence of winds, and the reasoning of men, the diversities of plants, and the virtues of fruits. Of roots. And all such things are of either secret or manifest. Them I know. Man, you see how he's using this Ruach that we read in 1 Corinthians chapter 2. This exact same Ruach was wisdom, families. It's going to go search out all things for you, families. These are these gifts that the Most High Yah been trying to clearly tell you. He said, he didn't just say a gift. He said gifts. It's like a fruit basket, man, full with all types of just beautiful, wonderful, marvelous things that you can use, families, that he gives to us. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So how do you know this? Verse 22. For wisdom, which is the work of all things, taught me, for in her is an understanding Ruach, holy, one only, manifold, subtle, lively, clear, undefiled, plain, not subject to hurt, loving the things that is good, quick, which cannot be letted, ready to do good. Come on. Come on. You see the vibration of wisdom, man. Kind to man, steadfast, sure, free from care, having all power, overseeing all things, and going through all understanding, pure and most subtle. Ruachs. He said Ruachs. Check this out, families. You see all the things that wisdom contains, all the works that wisdom has to do, families. Wisdom does a lot, and it faints not. It does a lot, and it faints not, y'all. Check this out. For wisdom is more moving than any motion. Now you seeing how I always talk about this frequency, this vibration, what we call energy, families. The power of God. The power of Yahuah. He's clearly naming these things for you, families. You're going to know all. Yes, we might know in part until this mystery is revealed to them that love him. And you don't have no problem to be in full submission to Hamashiach, families, to obey orders, the laws of Yahuah. You have no problem with that whatsoever. None. Because you know that these laws have these type of characteristics, families, attributes, families, elements. It clearly tells you this stuff. We just read it. We just read it, y'all. We just read it. to know all things. The Ruach, that spirit, will seek these things that are deeper, the deeper things of Yah. Let's go. For she is the breath of the power of Yahuah and of pureness. Wait a minute, check. Oh, Salaki. Let me start that over again. For she is the breath of Yahuah. It's the breath of the power of Yahuah. And a pure influence flowing, that's the vibration, family. It's something that is moving, families. You're either going to be going upstream or you're going to be going downstream. You're not going to be just in no standstill. Your vibration has some type of frequency to it, families. It either might be a low frequency or it's going to be a very high frequency, families. And if it's high, families, and it might not be from this world, families. It might not. That means it came from the Shamayims. It came from the heavens. It's telling you that. It's telling you that. For she is the breath of the power of Yahuah and a pure influence flowing from the glory of the Almighty. Therefore can no defiled thing fall into her, for she is the brightness of the everlasting light, the unspotted mirror of the power of Yahuah, and the image of his goodness, families. That's why he said there and says that I come in my Father's name. That's why he said there and said that he looked just like his he looked just like his daddy. That's why he said there and said that he comes to do the will of the one that sent him. He is the image of Abba Yahuah. Let's go. Let's go. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, families, KJV. All you got to do is just put that in, families. Put that part of your notes, family. That's a dagger. Let's go back to 1 Corinthians, because Paul was trying to tell them this once he came to this mystery and he was able to reveal these to the church of the Corinths. And families, they still was on something else, families. They still was on something else. Let's go. Verse 6 again. And my speech and my preaching was not with the enticing words of man's wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power. We just read it in the Wisdom of Solomon, family, to show you where the Spirit and this power was coming from. That your faith should not stand in the wisdom of man, but of the power of Yahuah. Letting you know, families, that if you stay in full obedience, families, that families, only wisdom will instruct you. It will direct your paths for you, families. Wisdom will seek and search all things out for you, families. Yes, you might know in part, families, but soon, families, once the congregation assembled themselves, a nation that is not desired, once again, I'm saying this 2 times now, and come together, families, we will bring all these things that he revealed, the secret things to us, families, the deeper matters. Let's go. Verse 6. Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor the princes of this world that come to not. These people's not going to come to your mind. We talking about TD Jakes, we talking about Joel Osteen, we talking about all them other cats, man. These people's not going to come to you're not even thinking about them, families. But we speak the wisdom of Yahuah in a mystery. We just talked about this mystery. Even the hidden wisdom, which Yahuah ordained before the world unto our glory. So when you go to Ephesians chapter 1, it's going to tell you what you were supposed to be doing before the foundation of the world, families. He clearly tells you that these are those that they have this type of energy that feel like they is not from this world, and you is not from this world. You came from the Shamayims, man. You came from these heavens, man. And let's prove that. Let's prove that. I gotta finish it all the way out, because we need verse 10, families, before I can prove what I'm trying to tell y'all. But we speak the wisdom of Yahuah in the mystery, even the hidden wisdom, which Yahuah ordained before. Remember, we saying we looking at ordained, and we looking at the word before. These are key words. The world and to our glory. The world is, what world is he talking about, families? That's going to teach you all these things. It is not this world, families. You can care less about what these people's doing on this in this realm, families. You talking about a different world, a world to come. This kingdom that is going to come and going to rise up in a day. This the world ain't going to reign for like a 1,000 years, a full millennium, families. And then after that, it's going to reign forever after that, families. Life never ends, families. Life never ends. It continue. It have a continuation to it. Let's go. Verse 8, which none of the princes of this world knew. None of these princes of this world knew. For had they known it, they would not have crucified the all master of glory. But as it is written, I have not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man, which is the mind of man. Now we know where this heart of man is coming from. It's wisdom, y'all. Which is your mind, where the brain. The things which Yahuah have prepared for them that love him. Now those that love him, Yahuah have prepared something for us. What is this that he's prepared? What is this that he's prepared? But Yahuah have revealed them unto us by his Ruach. Now he's telling us that he has revealed something by his Ruach. For the Ruach search of all things, which we know is wisdom now, is going to search all things, yea, the deep things of Yahuah. Now let's go to Ephesians chapter 1. Because we remember we were talking about ordained. We were talking about before. That's where predestination comes in at. That means that Yahushua told you this. He told you this before. He told you this before. Let's go. Verse 4. Verse 4. Now, let's start at verse 3. Blessed be Yahuah, our Abba, and our almighty Yahushua HaMashiach, who have blessed us with all. Remember, I'm saying all. I'm not giving y'all all this all, y'all. You're going to know all things in him, man. In Hamashiach, you're going to know all things. Yes, you might know in part, but he's going to teach you and to search out all things, y'all. All spiritual blessings in heavenly places in Hamashiach. He's telling you where you're going to learn this stuff from. According as he have chosen us in him before the foundation of the world. Predestination. That we should be holy and without blame before you. Remember what I've said before? You see how I said ordained families? This ordained families is something that you knew before the foundation of the world, families. You was ordained to know these things. You was ordained to feel the way you feel. You was ordained to know what you know. You was ordained to seek what you seek. You was ordained to feel these things, families. You was ordained for that. That we should be holy and without blame before him in love. Then he said that says that he have prepared something for those that love him. He have prepared a way for those that love him, families. Watch this. Having predestined us into the adoption of children by Yahushua Mashiach to himself, according to the good pleasure of whose will? Yahuwah's will, to the praise of the glory of his grace, wherein he hath made us accepted in the beloved. Now we are called beloved. So when I say families, you are my beloved family members. Beloved, your name just got changed because we just got adopted in. Love it, families. Love it. Love it. Because I wanted to go into verse 8, families. Check this out. In whom we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins according to the riches of his grace, wherein he have abounded towards us in all wisdom. Now we know where this come from, family. It's no longer a mystery no more. And prudence, having made known unto us the mystery of what? His will. We now know what this mystery is, families. According to what? His good pleasure, which he have purpose in himself, families. In himself. It's for his glory. And it's very historical. Very historical. It has a history to it, families. Best believe that. Best believe that. How would you know this? 1 John chapter 2. How would you know this? Let's go. He's going to tell you who he's talking to, families. It's a separation, families. At the end of the day, it's not meant for. It's meant for everybody once that time comes. But during that time, a lot of people finna die. A lot of people finna die. Check this out. My little children, these things write I unto you, that ye sin not. And if any man sin, we have an advocate with the Abba, Yahushua HaMashiach the righteous. And he is the perpetuation of our sins, and not for ours only, but also for the sins of the whole world. So when Zechariah chapter 14 be fulfilled, when the valley of dry bones come together, families, and then all the nations going to gather themselves together, families, to go after Israel in the valley of Jehoshaphat, then families, that's when Hamashiach is very finna great to come down, families, and that robe, families, that white robe, families, gonna be dripped with blood. It's gonna be dripped with blood. And hereby we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments. He that said, I know him, and keepeth not his commandment is a liar, and the truth is not in him. Why would he tell us this, families, when you read that? Most people just sit there and say that we just go to this because, oh, it's a dagger for us to tell people to keep the commandments. No, because when you jump down to verse 20, families, he's telling you about this new commandment that he done wrote in, families. And when you go down to verse 20, families, check this out. Let's start at verse 18 so we can get into its context. It's going back to knowing all things. What is going to teach you to know all these things and keep you protected, keep you guarded, families, keep your mind guarded, families, during these times. Little children, it's the last time. And as ye have heard, that Antichrist shall come. Even now are there many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. They went out from us, but they were not of us. Who is these they that went out from us? These are people that sit there and say that this what they call the great falling away. No, families, this great falling away, families, is going to the true great falling away is happening during a what they call a rapture period. These are those that are taken up. When they mean about taken up, families, that means you died. Death came upon you, families. Those that are left behind, families, are going to be the ones that are still going to be fighting on this earth, in this realm, families, until the day that Hamashiach touched on the Mount of Olives. You can't make that. You can't take these certain prophecies to fit your needs in your certain dispensation, which what we call in your era. There are going to be many ages that will rise and fall and come and go. Many ages are going to come and go, families. That's why when we read in the Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7, it was telling you about what wisdom do. It know the changes of the seasons, families. You're supposed to adapt and adjust into these things and know these things, search these things out, the deeper things of Yahuah. That's why we went to all these precepts to get to where we at right now. So you won't get confused when other people go to this and they teaching something what they don't have no type of instructions behind it. They just know how to read it. Why would you order to read it? What, you know what I'm saying? Read it in its proper order. You get what I'm saying? There's a reason why you read it in the order that you're supposed to be reading it in. You was instructed to read it in this type of order. You was instructed to. And then when somebody said, well, what instructed you? Then you can go to the certain precepts, family, that showed you, that taught you to instruct or to move a certain way or walk this certain way. Let's go. They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us. But they went out, that they might be made manifest, that they were not all of us. But ye have a unction from the Holy One. This unction means to be like a calling. It means to be like anointed. You know what I'm saying? He gifted you with something, families, in your present day, for you to open up this gift, families, and see what your Abba, your Creator gave to you, families. And you're supposed to use this gift, families. Check this out. But ye have an unction, being anointed or gifted for something from the Holy One. And ye know all things. Going back to that all, families, that you're going to know all things. Why are you going to know all things? I have not written unto you because ye know not the truth, but because ye know it, and that no lie is of the truth. That's the reason why I read that. For you to do this, families, you have to what? Keep thy commandments. There's an order. There's an order. And what's directing you to do this? Wisdom. Wisdom going to bring you this knowledge. This knowledge is going to give you the understanding, families. Let's go. We're not done. I got some more for you. I got some more. So when people sit there and say that you only know in part, but Yahuah don't want you to know all things, that is a lie. That's a lie. There's been many antichrists. That's an antichrist. When in him, families, you can do all things. But you're going to sit here and tell me that I'm not going to know all things just because I'm supposed to know in part. If we put all our minds together like Yahuah instructed us and directed us to do, then we would know what we're supposed to know of Yah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise Yah. Praise Yah. Hallelujah. People is confusing people based upon understanding that they don't know nothing about because they ain't went to go seek these things when he told you to go seek these things. And wisdom is going to search for all things for you. Let's go.
My lord. Yeah. I don't think they're ready for this.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think they're ready for this. Ninja vibes and Levite sound on the track. Come on, let's go.
Baby girl, tell me what you really wanna do. 'Cause two is better than one, I can't do without you. For God make a woman feel them with a rip from them side. So me recognize you, and me rip from the day me saw you. Can you take correction? Are you gonna learn your lesson? Are you a curse or a blessing? Are you gonna have me stressing? Yeah. Revolutionary man need a woman revolutionary. Ride or die, you have to fit in the category. Me don't want no dragon in my life, 'cause that's unnecessary. Them type of woman, they are send you in a cemetery. A silent woman, always loving, always make me merry. Supportive, and she help me fight the adversary. Never go hungry, 'cause she put food in me belly. I never do, but never lends, then she always ready. Loyalty, I feel qualify. Me no want no girl we never ever satisfied. Me no want no temporary run to ride or die. You don't fit the criteria, baby girl, don't try. Don't do one better than one, know that we can agree. Yeah, 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 yeah. Do one better than one, know that we can agree. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do one better than one, know that we can agree. Yeah, 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 yeah. Do one better than one, know that we can agree. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yes, I was made for you. You're revolutionary woman. I follow your lead, 'cause you are my king. Be a support and always give you love. Take care of the house, keep the children in mind. Apply the scriptures and try not to fight. Do everything that you desire. Yours live for the most high. Is what I truly admire. Admire, admire, admire. Do one better than one, know that we can agree. Yeah, 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 yeah. Do one better than one, know that we can agree. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do one better than one, know that we can agree. Yeah, 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 yeah. Do one better than one, know that we can agree. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Deux meilleurs qui yon, mais c'est ça better than one. Parce que si moi tombé, faut bonne force pour me lever. Yon femme, yon garçon, mais faut moi bien enseigner. Pour si m'nan wout kochi, wap ka guide nan chemin. Appliquer toute sa biblique, fondation nous c'est la loi. Même Jean avec Jésus-Christ, pour Israël, bail la ville. Enseigner et nourrir, avant c'est ça pour me faire tout. Ensemble, nous c'est heirs, pour nous recevoir royaume ciel. Mon Dieu créé Adam et Ève, li pat bali morti. Pour Ève, c'est bien chez vous, pas besoin père, non Dieu et ou mec. Comme si nous suivons la loi, pas la tristesse, mon flot qu'on en sait, yon princesse. N'en fait la bonne nous toute richesse, monde qui parle qui c'est Israël. Ensemble, si nous suivons li, n'a blesse. On nous enjoy tout le moment, et retirer tout stress. On nous continue à prendre, en unité, vivre ensemble. Pour porter un bel exemple, et vivre avec bon comprendre. Pour vivre avec bon comprendre.
Got one more joint, families, man, before I show you some spiritual stuff, family. Before we go to our spiritual class, I do want to go to Yahuah, just to show you all the things that our brother been doing, man. Families, man, all praise to y'all, man. I do hope y'all like the video. I just really just want to share it out there, man. Just to let you know, man, that our people that's out there, man, our people is really putting in some work, families. They might not get the attention like most people do, man, because they not out here backbiting other people and stuff like that. But families, man, they actually putting their hands to the plow, families. You know, they trying to learn how to do certain things, just dealing with the elements of nature. You know what I'm saying? And families, man, it's good that they starting now. You know what I'm saying? You know, and that way they won't have to be sorry later. You know, so I'm glad that the Most High Yah humble my mind and my spirit to where I can be able to be in a quiet place and look at these things and kind of observe these things so I can get an understanding of these things. And then that way I can apply action to it, because I do love him, and I know love is an action word, and I love Yah, you know, so I want to apply these actions, you know. So with that being said, we're going to play one more music joint before I show you my boy. Let's go. And that's what I'm talking about, family. I got some more precept families to bring out, families, man. They're going to show you that the Most High Yah sent His Spirit, which is wisdom, families. This set apart Ruach, families, man, to go and teach us a lot of stuff, families, man. And it's very disciplined. Wisdom is very disciplined, and she is like a mother to us, families. And she give us the understanding and as well give us knowledge so we can understand these things, families. And then once you get this understanding, you will apply these things in your life. Let's go. This is my brother Yahuah and families, man. All praises. All praises. We also going to go to the arrival. This husband and wife families have made it to Gambia, and families there is doing some wonderful work over there as well. Let's go.
No, but for real, fam, this is about to be my very first harvest. And, when I tried this last year, it didn't work out so well. But after doing a lot of research and learning and things like that, I tried it again this year. I planted some kale, I planted some collard greens, I planted some cabbage, and let's just say it was successful. So I want to start this video off by harvesting my collards, and yeah, we're gonna have some for salad later, and also we're gonna can some of them. So yeah, let's get to it. I know a lot of you all may be wondering why I have this net on top, and that's because I wanted to protect the plants from bugs, pests, whatever you want to call them. Like I said, this is my first successful harvest. I had the green thumb this year so far, and man, I can't even express to y'all like how excited I am about the future of me planting or whatever. There's gonna be food shortages coming here soon. It's gonna get really bad. I'm just being completely honest with y'all. It's gonna get really, really bad. And if you don't know how to grow your own food, well, let's just say this. It's not gonna be pretty. And like I said, I went on Amazon and bought this net to keep the bugs out. You know what I'm saying? And also, I use neem oil, and I spray that on them or whatever, and that keeps the pests away. I got some kale down there. I'm gonna show you that next. But before I started using that and before I purchased this, I kept having problems. You know, I kept seeing that they were laying eggs underneath them. So after I got all this stuff, I fixed that issue. Never had problems since then.
All praise to Yahuah. I also want to show you another thing that our Aki is doing, families. And man, he just bringing awareness out there, family. That's all he's just trying to do, is just bring some awareness. It's about time for us to start stocking up and storing. Let's go. All praises. All praises. I'm finna take you to older elders families. They don't end up moving to Africa families in Gambia, and they doing some wonderful work over there as well families. This is The Arrival.
Good morning, family. We are here at the land. Took a day, maybe 2 days off, huh?
Well, we took 1 day off.
Oh, we took a day off to recuperate from the little backfill we were doing.
Hey, King, well I am. I see
We
ya.
are back at it today. So,
Shalom,
we're
Aki.
just trying to get
Hey, may the Most High always hold you, guys. You
backfill,
bless you, keep you, and protect
everything
you out here,
backfill.
King. Let's go, Ak.
The walls.
Hey, you just made it in time, bro. Long time no see, King. But I'm glad that you in good health and spirit, big bro. Man, I love you out here. All praise to the Most High, yeah. Let's go.
So let me just turn this around so you can see what we're doing, and then you'll see how we make progress, okay? So I'll be right back with you. All right, guys, here's Kenny trying to get these. Hey, Kenny.
Hello.
Try to get.
Let me come out of the sun for a minute. How you guys doing today? Yeah, like Terry said, we're doing the backfill.
Hey, beautiful Queen Black Snowflake. How you doing, Queen? It's good to see you, Aki. How you doing, Queen? Hey, I hope that you, your spouse, and your whole family is doing absolutely amazing, Queen. May the Most High always hold you, guide you, bless you, keep you, and protect you in everything that you do, Queen. I want to say that I love you. Shalom.
Pour the pillars, fill the forms, build the forms and then fill them. After the belt is done inside, and that's the iron all the way around on the top of this. And I have someone that's going to do that.
Pause. Now, families, man, what they had done, families, was that property is land, families, is a good investment to a man, especially when he is out here trying to bring what they call generational wealth. You do you understand what I'm saying? It's not about how much money you leave over and stuff like that, because these cats is trying to get it to where they're gonna have a crypto type of funding system pretty soon, families, where there ain't gonna be dollar bills. Everything is going to be digital. But families, that's why you should invest in land that where you can build on this land, and then your generations that to come will always have a place, something that is structured. You know what I'm saying? It's structured, families, but but you got to be and being in this full function as well, in its full function, and me learning these basic tips and seeing people from where they starting from the ground, and they just trying to build, families. They came a long way from their previous videos that they did months ago, families, especially when they bought the property. Let's continue on a journey, families. It's very inspiring.
But in the meantime, we can sit around and wait till everything starts again, or we can put our hand to the plow and make it work, which we don't mind doing. Yeah, we probably. Oh, that's the woman behind the camera. So hey, sometimes you put your hand to the plow, make it work. I don't want Terry to do it. She'll have to do it. I got this.
Yeah, sure. He says he has it, but let me tell you, I have to help him, because if not, who knows what would be. Kenny's strong, and Kenny's well able, but he's only one man. So far, this morning I was working on this big old pile and trying to fill that in. So that's what I'm doing right now. And as I come to what do you call our Never Dies, and forgive me again because I forget the name of it, the real name. I'm getting them out. So and I got one out of there.
Man, wait until you get all that
So I
dirt
just want
just
you
leveled
guys
out,
to
families. That way he can
kind of
put
see
cement,
the piles where
more
they're
wood
at,
and more cement.
and then
It would it be like on
then
floor
you'll
level,
see
families, and
how
then he
far we
might
got when they're no
add
longer
more
there.
brick to it
Okay,
or
and
style
so I'm thinking a
floors.
few more days. Look at those piles. I'm saying a few more days, they should be gone, right?
Interesting.
So here we go. Probably so, because the more it's going to settle, so it'll probably need more dirt. Yeah. So there we go, guys. I'm sorry, Katie.
All
Go ahead.
praise. So, Yahuah is using certain individual families. It's good that they starting now, families. It's the sad thing about it is that as we get older, families, as you age, families, you continue to get wiser on a certain things that you ask for, and sometimes, man, if you do Yahuwah's will, then he's going to let his will be done within you. He's going to let his will going to be done within you, because he know that you're going to give him the glory. But sometimes, family, he give you over to what your heart desires, and whatever your heart desires, families, is man's wisdom, and the heart is deceitful above all things. Who knows it, families? Let's go to that precept. The heart is very deceitful in all things. Who knows it, families? So that's why the Most High always wants you to, he brings out a distinction about what you're supposed to do and what you needs to do. You know what I'm saying? Well, most people sit there and say what I'm supposed to do is just stay whatever color you is and die, or whatever the case may be, which that's ignorant. You know what I'm saying? It's just complete madness, foolishness, But what you needs to do, families, is try to find ways that's going to bring knowledge, wisdom, and understanding into your life, so you can kind of live a healthy life, but very righteous. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong, man, doing certain things that you do, but at the same time, families, you do age. You will age, and as you age, what are you leaving behind for your next generation? Something that cannot be destroyed, but we are amongst other men. Other men like to take from their brother. That's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying? So are you able to hold down your kingdom? Can you fight and protect your gates, or is another man willing to come and conquer you? What type of instructions do you have that is embedded inside your mindset that you can perform with action? And I love these things. I love learning these things. You know what I'm saying? Because most people don't talk to me like that. It takes elders that's teaching me these things. You know what I'm saying? And they letting a certain spirit teach us these things. Let's go. The heart is deceitful above all. Who knows it? Who knows it? Jeremiah chapter 17. Let's go. Verse 7. Blessed is the man that trusteth in Yahuwah, and whose hope is Yahuwah is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat cometh, but her leaves shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. The heart is deceitful above all things, and desperately wicked. Who can know it? I, Yahuwah, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways, and according to the fruit of his doing. So, families, that's what I've been trying to show you. Like there's instruction, there's an order that the Most High Yah is going to teach you, families. That's going to direct your ways. These ways, families, is deeds. They are works, families. They are works. And there's a certain spirit that is working in certain individual. You got one spirit that has a gift, what they call fruits, families. It's a fruit box. It's the gifts of the Ruach. And it will seek and search out all things, and you will be tried. You will never be tempted. You will be tested, though, to see how far your roots grow, man. Your roots supposed to grow deep. in the earth, families. 10 toes down on that. It's supposed to grow deep. Why? Because you are made from the same minerals and elements of the dust of the ground that you came from. You cannot make this stuff up. And that's why he said and says that Yahuah will search out the heart. Man can sit there and say they don't understand that this heart is not that's pumping in the middle of your chest. It's your mind. He's going to try that. You ever heard that song? Sometimes my mind play tricks on me. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. I'm just giving y'all the basics, families, because we out there trying to search out the deeper things of Yahuah. Why? Because we was ordered and ordained to do so. I gave you too many precepts to show you basic instructions that wisdom is teaching you these things. Wisdom. And she is very beautiful and very disciplined. She is gorgeous, families. Beautiful in all her ways. She's not like that heart. She's not like that heart that's deceitful above all its ways. But wisdom itself is beautiful in all her ways. Beautiful, man. Let's go to Malachi chapter 2. Malachi chapter 2. Check this out, families. The dagger in this one will be all praises. The dagger in this will be verse 5 and 6. The dagger in this will be verse 5 and 6. But we're gonna read it to all the way to verse 9. Let's go. And now, O ye priests, this commandment is for you. Now, in Malachi chapter 2, remember the Old Testament. When it come down to the Old Testament, Yahushua himself was reading nothing but the old scrolls, families. The New Testament, they was the walking testament, families. That's why when they tell you who the gospel is, what is the gospel? The gospel is to bring you back to the covenant, families. It's supposed to bring you back to this covenant, a royal priesthood. A royal priesthood. So Malachi is trying to tell a commandment strictly given to only the priests. These priests can be righteous priests or what they call the antichrist priests, false prophets. Antichrist, very anti, y'all. They do what they want to do. They do that wilt, families. They don't do what they don't have no orders. They are very lawless. They don't have no orders. Don't nobody can nobody tell them nothing. They do what they want to do. And let God be the judge, or whoever God they serve. Let that God be the judge. Let's put it like that. Let whatever God that they serve, let that God that they serve be their judge. Because the master that we serve ain't everybody God. It ain't everybody God. Only those that's going to be righteous in the end, family, is going to serve this master. Everything else is going to burn in the lake of fire, man. And now, O ye priests, this commandment is for you. If you will not hear, and if you will not lay it to heart, which is mind, to give glory unto my name, he always wants us to glorify his name, families, said Yahuah Sabaoth, Yahuah, Lord of hosts, mean God of armies. I will even send a curse upon you, and I will curse your blessings. Yea, I have cursed them already, because ye do not lay it to what? Your mind. You don't lay this to your heart, or your consciousness. You don't even think of this. You don't even think. You don't bethink yourself. You don't want to be reproved. You want to be stuck in whatever ways you are stuck in, and you are content with that until whatever God you serve call you home. Maybe that God you serving might not be what we talking about right here. This God right here has some laws, man. This God right here has orders, man. He command you to do something. He expect you to do it. Check this out. Behold, I will corrupt your seed, and spread dung. Dung is like what they call manure. Poop. Doo-doo. Doo-doo. Check this out. Behold, I will corrupt your seed and spread dung upon your faces. He's gonna spread doo-doo all on your face. Even the dung of your Solomon feast, whatever feast that you come up with. It could be Valentine's Day, it could be Easter, it could be all these feasts that man come up with. One shall take you away with it. And ye shall know that I have sent this commandment unto you, that my covenant might be with Levi, said Yahuah Sabaoth, the Lord of hosts. My covenant was with him of life and shalom, and I gave them to him for the fear wherewith he feared me, and was afraid before my name. Now, families, you remember we were going to predestination? These are those that fears Yahuah, families. They fear him, families, because they know that fearing him is going to bring them the beginning of wisdom, families. And then you're going to know these things that wisdom has, families. You're going to know the characteristics that wisdom carries, the true powers, the gifts that wisdom has, families. He's going to bring this to your life, families. He's going to bring this to your life. He's telling you this. He's just telling you to beware of these certain priests, because he gave them a commandment to do. And some of these cats that's out here preaching to you is going off. They're going all the way off, y'all. They truly doing that. Check this out. Verse 4 again. And ye shall know that I have sent this commandment unto you, that my covenant might be with Levi, said Yahuah Sabaoth. My covenant was with him of life and shalom, and I gave them to him for the fear wherewith he feared me, and was afraid before my name. The law of truth was in his mouth, and iniquity was not found in his lips. He walked with me in peace, in shalom, in equity, and did not turn many away from iniquity. Come on now. Come on, Yahuah. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they shall seek the law at his mouth, for he is the messenger of Yahuah Sabaoth. He is that messenger. People is always taking what is in the spiritual and trying to manifest that into something that is fleshly, man. Always keeping that carnal minded. That's being mortal. That's being mortal. Check this out. But ye are departed out of the way. Ye have caused many to stumble at the law. Yea, have corrupted the covenant of Levi, said Yahuah Sabaoth. Therefore have I also made you contempt. He's going to hold you accountable for this. And based before all the people, according as ye have not kept my ways, but have been partial in the law. For we, not all one Father? Now have we all have one Abba? Have not one Yahuah created us? Why do we deal treacherously, every man against his brother, by profaning the covenant of our Abbas? That's what we doing. That's what we doing. And people is putting doubts in your mindset, families. And then they want to try to tell you about two different types of hearts. They're talking about a heartbeat, when the breath of life is the Ruach, the spirit that was supposed to give you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding so you can continue to live on. But they talking about something that's going to die, families. But that mind continues on. Why? Because the soul dwells there. The spirit, the soul dwells there. People is telling you about some different stuff, families. I don't get it. I'm starting to not understand that. That's why I love about our Hebraic culture. I love that. Why? Because families, they telling what you manifest is your reality if you continue to follow the directions that the Most High gives to you. But why? Why don't we do that? Have we not all one Abba? Have not one Yahuah created us? Why do we deal treacherously every man against his brother? By profaning the covenant of our Abbas. We ran away from that, y'all. We far from wisdom. When wisdom's supposed to be she's supposed to be right there with us. It will be no doubt in your mind. This will be without a shadow of a doubt, family, that you ain't telling no lie. But somebody lying. Somebody lying. Especially when it's causing confusion amongst the members of the body of Hamashiach. Both sides can't be right. Somebody lying. Let's go. That's why we gotta believe, man. That's why you gotta believe. Yahuah is going to cut them off, man, that does them type of things. Yahuah is going to cut them off. We're going to go to our class, families, because this was the whole point of this whole live. Yahuah will cut them off when that time comes, yo. Let's go. Hey, beautiful Queen Andrea. How you doing, Iman? I'm sorry, Queen. That was in the scriptures, sis. Man, the Most High always holds you. God be bless you. Keep you in particular, Queen. Shalom.
I know that life you're up, but yo, me nah go watch the face because me know the Father got me, Yahuah. Well, me steady hold the faith in the struggle and the trial, devil could have never touch me, Yahuah. Well, me have to pay the rent, I know me have to pay the rent, but me don't know where that I come from, Yahuah. Well, but I provided for the saints, man, me know him watching over me, and that I give me comfort, yeah. Well, me have a baby on the way, I know me need a place to stay, so me praying every day, Yahuah. Well, but as I give me guidance, me by him, I lead the way, remember him, I lead the way, you know what? Even when me pocket kinda shallow, me still have something to eat, me still have some drink to swallow, oh I. Well, Jaja, you make my day, I me never gonna stray, cause I you me, I go follow, oh I.
I see you, beautiful Queen Andrea. Let's go, sis. King Will I Am, come on, beautiful Queen BSF. I love you, sis. Hey. Zion.
Life is so hard, but there's no need to cry. Stand firm on your faith. All you gotta do is try. Jaja will be there. Raise your head to the sky and give thanks to the Father. All praises to the Most High. Hold it high. Keep on believing in the Most High. Keep on believing. Keep on believing. Keep on believing. Even when times get rough, Jaja will be there. And even when the going gets tough, Jaja will be there. When the world's turned against you, Jaja will be there. So lift your head high and praise the Most High.
All praises to Yahuah and Yahusha Hamashiach. Hallelujah. I see you, beautiful Queen Andrea. Let's go, Iman. Hey. Yasharal. Hallelujah, Yasharal. Yasharal means to be upright in Hebrew, family. Let's go, Yasharal. Hallelujah. All right, families. Now it's time for us to go to our class, families. We done played enough music. I got a lot of music going for us, families, but we're going to go straight to our class, families, because there's some things that I want y'all to know. There are some things I want y'all to know. And families, these are bodies prepared. Zakar Yahu, the book of Zechariah. Let's go, families. Zakar Yahu, the bodies prepared. This lesson right here is very powerful, families.
Things gonna start rolling.
I
out
hope this
August,
lesson is be
September.
very edifying. It's showing you certain orders that certain people don't have no problem doing in this time and in this hour, families. They are nowhere near lawless, families. They are not out here trying to put the laws on people and stuff like that, because people have a confusion about certain laws. They have a confusion with that, and it's starting to make people stumble. It's starting to make them stumble. But when you go to Psalms chapter 119, it clears you, give you direction of how King Yahuah, which was once a sinner, families, before he went into full righteousness. How did he go into this full righteousness, family? Because, family, he was doing everything to his brother that he wasn't even supposed to be doing. He was an adulterer. He was a murderer. He was a liar. He was even a coward at sometimes, families. Because, families, he would stay out of battle and go send other people, families, go get killed. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, man, yo, King David was something else, families. But the Most High Yah still found grace and mercy for him, was able to use him. And King Yahuah was known to be a mighty king, families. For where that King Yahushua HaMashiach will come and claim that throne, because that throne was meant for him. It was meant for Hamashiach. It shows you sometimes, families, your flaws. That way that you will correct these flaws so you can walk into full perfectionist, families. Because the Elohim that you serve, that Allah Hayim, families, he is perfect in all things that he do. And he's always on time. Always. So we have to come to that understanding. Humble ourselves, y'all. Sometimes we're not always right. And if you're not, that means you need to what? Be taught. Are you willing to be humble so you can be taught? You can't teach somebody that's supposed to know all things, that know everything. How can you teach them if they know everything? And it's probably not even of Yah. It's probably of something else. Dang, man, you might got everything about this world, because you talk about TD Jakes, you talk about Joel Osteen, you talking about all these false prophets that Yahushua tells us not to be worried about. He tells you don't even worry about them. They got theirs coming to them. He just tried to tell you to beware of these type of people. Beware means that you have a good eye on certain things. You discerning certain people vibration and frequency, families. He ain't telling you to worry about these people. Man, let it not trouble you. Trouble ye not. You better not let that trouble you. That Hasatan is a lie. You better not let that trouble you. Why? Because you was instructed to do that. You was instructed to do that. Some Ruach ordered you to do that, and you're going to obey that order. Why? Because you is disciplined. You is disciplined. You have morals, values, and principles based upon everything you do. A true MVP. Real soldier for Hamashiach. Because you is a soldier of Christ, right? Well, then you is that real MVP. Because you are based upon true fundamentals, families, that come from the Shamayins, that come from the heavens. You are based you have these characteristics of morals, values, and principles, and they only come from Yah. Them are the characteristics, the fruits that you bear. Let that light shine, man.
Things going to get worse in August and September. How worse, I don't know. Would the events happen? I don't know. But I think something is happening during that time frame. I think. I got to get my disclaimers, you know how people do. So anyway, let's keep going. 2021 Global Report on Food Crisis. Joint analysis for better decisions. Like, if y'all remember when I did that lesson a while back, I told you about, they call it the Global Reset, the Great Reset.
This lesson is powerful, families. I hope you got your book and your notepad, family.
There's no food crisis.
Write down the precepts that Moray Josh is going to put out, families, as well as all the precepts that we went over today. So when somebody sit there and say that just because you know in part, God is not going to, God don't want you to know all things, man, Hasatan is a lie. If you follow wisdom like you're supposed to do and let wisdom performance works on you, then you're going to seek out the deep things of Yah. And that spirit, his spirit, is going to search with all things for you.
Collapse of supply chains after the pandemic and Brexit led to the shortage of more than 100,000 truck drivers. Industry leaders are born, so they already predicting this thing in the UK. It's only a matter of time. And if you think people's ready to fight you over gas, what you think gonna happen when you ain't got no food?
So, saying this, again, we're going to get to a point. I know I had to put this out there. So if there's anything you was planning on doing, do it. But at the same time, you're not going to be fully, if you're not Ruachly prepared, if you're not in Yahuah, if you don't have had that blood on your doorpost in this time, you're in trouble. You're going to be in trouble because you haven't prepared. You don't have things stored up for this time in your Ruach. Because it's going to be about whether or not you can stand in the face of adversity. Let's keep going. Again, I can get no video. I pulled the headline from one of these videos. Get ready while you still can. This is talking about the coming famine. Right? So, and you know they talking about right now a new virus. They call it a Delta strain. That's going to feed into all this. And like I say, most of the time I don't like doing this because people just get stuck. They'll talk about this I can do a whole lesson and they'll be stuck right here. 2 hours later, they still be talking about this because they can't discern what's going on. And the reason why they can't discern is part of this lesson. Let's go to Zechariah 13. So last week we went through this whole process. First we talked about the priesthood, Zerubbabel and Yahusha, the son of Yahuzadak, and their role in that time, right? And then we went through we showed you the whole process that they go from the redemption, the restoring of the priesthood into the kingship. And we got to chapter 12 last time. We talked about the Ruach of Daud, which is the Ruach of Mashiach. So one of the things that Israel's going to find out is that the Ruach that Daud had, because everybody talk about being like Daud. Malachi posted a post and I commented on it. He talked about the kings of Daud, or kings in Daud. And what I wrote on it was the scripture from Matthew, when it says, Hosanna, praise to the son of Daud, right? And blessed is he that comes in the name of Adonai. Because that was things in my mind. I was like, man, what is that really saying? It's coming a time that phrase is going to be said about all of us. Blessed be the son of Daud. Right? And also, blessed is he that comes in the name of Adonai. Because Daud came in the name of Adonai. The Ruach that everybody admired in Daud was the Ruach of Mashiach. Mashiach appeared to Daud and presented this, or left that word in him that manifested the nature of Mashiach. And that's the reason why people will say. So when you look at, we talked about Zechariah 12. When you look all down that chapter, it talks about the Ruach of grace and supplication, and the families apart, and everybody being mourning for Yahusha, right? As somebody that lost their own child, or somebody that was in their own family. So when this Ruach of grace and supplication is imparted on them, they all seek after Yahusha. But an interesting thing happens in 13. It's crazy how the Ruach of grace and supplication would birth the events in chapter 13. It almost seemed like contradictory. Let's read that. Matter of fact, let's go back to 12. Let's read. We ain't gonna read the whole chapter. We're gonna read the last couple of verses. Right? Start at 10. And I'll pour upon the house of Daud, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the Ruach of grace and supplication. And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one that mourneth for his only son. And he shall be in bitterness as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. And in that day there shall be a great mourning in Jerusalem, a mourning in Hamaron, and in the valley of Megiddon. And the land shall mourn, every family apart. The family of Daud apart, and their wives apart. The house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart. The family of the house of Levi apart, and their wives apart. The family of Shemaiah apart, and their wives apart. And the families that remain, every family apart, and their wives apart. So all these people at this time is getting the Ruach of grace and what? Grace and... But for whatever reason, something happens when they receive that Ruach of grace and supplication. Let's go to 13. In that day there shall be a fountain open to the house of Daud, because of the Ruach of what? and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem for sin and uncleanness. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahuah Sabaoth, that I will cut off the names of the idols of that land, and they shall no more be remembered. And I will also cause the prophets and the unclean Ruachs to pass out of that land. Verse 3, it's going to get real interesting. 3, and it shall come to pass that when any yet prophesy, then his father and his mother that begat him shall say unto him, thou shalt not live. How do you go from the Ruach of grace and supplication to, I'm going to kill you? For thou speakest lies in the name of Yahuah. And his father and mother that begat him shall thrust him through that prophesied. The mother and father that had this child is going to kill the child. So in this time of grace and supplication, this Ruach of Daud, the Ruach of Yahuah, after they turn to the mindset of Mashiach, they're going to turn to those who speak against them amongst themselves and kill them. Did you not read that? It says that a mother and a father would turn on their own child and thrust them through for speaking a lie against the name of Yahuah, or speaking falsely against the name of Yahuah. I started looking at that thing, I was like, what kind of mind is that? What kind of devotion is that? Like I told my Pentecost, you know, this happened before in the script, and what happened was Yahuah made an everlasting covenant with him. Our people was wilding out, committing fornication and adultery with another nation. And then one man stood up with a javelin and tried to thrust them through to end the plague. Yahuah said, I'll make an everlasting covenant with that man. So the Ruach of grace and supplication, the Ruach of Daud, changed the whole mentality of a people that they would not tolerate any wickedness at all. Every time we think about the kingdom, we think that Yahuah's going to come out with a Thanos snap, and then we all just going to be good. That's what we believe. Because Christianity taught us that stuff. Christianity taught us there's going to be a rapture, we all will be changed in a twinkling of an eye. Right. And when that change happens, you're not going to be able to do no sin. But the thing about it is, if that's the case, how are the people outside of the kingdom? Called dogs and evil ones and the whole nine. What's going on? But even before that time, there's a different mentality that these people have after this Ruach is poured upon them. When this Ruach of grace and supplication is poured upon them, it's not just about, it's not feel good, it's not with wickedness, with everybody. It's not an inclusion. It's loyalty, it's devotion, it's the fear of Yahuah. It's the mindset that we're going to establish his kingdom and his will no matter what. This is what Daud did. Daud would go to a nation. He went to a nation and draw a line down the middle and slaughtered half of a people because of their potential to come against Yahuah. He went around from nation to nation, submitting every nation to his will from the sword by the will of Yahuah. This is what I'm trying to get you to see in the context of Daud. So Daud had the heart of, go ahead. You don't love what Yahuah love and hate what he hate. Perfect hatred. And that's what happens in this time. So you look at the text, you see in this time, after the Ruach is poured upon them, they have a perfect hatred for sin. Perfect. No toleration. No mixing. No plan. Even if it's their own child, somebody in their own house, they would thrust them through. Right? That's a mentality we don't see in Israel. That's a mentality we don't see in Israel. A lot of us can't even miraculously thrust the wicked through that we deal with every day. We have allegiances, ties, people we deal with that we know we're not supposed to deal with because we gonna thrust them through. Things that we dabbling in that we know we let go, we won't thrust it through. Wicked people that we give ears to because we won't thrust them through. In this time, thrusting somebody through is not taking a sword and sticking it in their chest. Thrusting somebody through is cutting off the hands of the wicked. Not opening your ears to the wicked. Not following after the wicked thing. Not making allegiances with things that you know that are corrupted. Not having your heart set on things that you know that are corrupted. It's not just about the context of them saying that somebody that false prophesy on Yahuah. It's the context of they're not going to stand with any unrighteousness in no way, shape, or form, or at no level. It's a whole different type of mentality. That same mentality is the mentality of grace and supplication. It's the mentality of worship. So Yahuah is restoring us to restore a nation, to restore a kingdom. This kingdom won't be restored without that. This kingdom that we see in Zechariah 13, we see the process in Zechariah 13. It wasn't a Thanos snap. It wasn't a mind wipe. It wasn't mind control. It was the heart. It was mentality. It was devotion. It should be that if you have somebody that blaspheme Yahuah, that you will have no time with them. Because our ancestors in the past would have chopped off their head. That you won't even want to tag with them. And I'm saying all this because I'm getting to a point. Because really what's going on is there are certain ones in and amongst us that we won't thrust through because we think we know who the children are. Even in my own house, amongst my sons and my daughters, I don't know which ones is Yahuah and who's not. All I can do is raise them up in the way they should go. But there can come a time where they choose Hasatan. And in that time, I got to be okay with it. Me and my wife had came to that realization. I did put everything I know in Yahushua, in Yahushua to grow up and be what he need to be, right? But if Yahushua chose Hasatan, he's going to deal with Hasatan. I had prepared my heart from that. People in the awakening saw me dealing with it, and they were like, oh, he's so hard. He's harsh. I can't believe he did that. He brought his son up in front of the assembly. People sending me emails. I can't believe you do that. Why could you do that? That's your own son. It's a different mentality. It's a different heart. It's a different breed. If you're going to get to that place, you got to be the sons. The only thing about the sons is the sons and the daughters were predestined. The sons and daughters have always been here forever. In the process of time, they are manifest. These sons and daughters have a different mentality. Some of us are maturing in that. So we get into that place of that mentality. We get to the place where everything in Babylon we done with, we're ready to cut it off, we're ready to thrust it through. It's not going to be a person. Sometimes it's going to be a desire. Sometimes it could be something material that you want. Sometimes it can be a place that you wanted to go, thing you wanted to accomplish, your career, how you view yourself, things that you don't want to do. You want to turn that thing and thrust it through because you realize it's hindering you from accomplishing what Yahuah has put in your heart to already do. But whether or not that thing can come to fruition is going to depend on whether or not you're the sons and the daughters. It shall come to pass in that day when any shall prophesy, then his father and his mother that begat him shall say unto him, thou shalt not live, for thou speakest lies in the name of Yahuah. And his father and mother that begat him shall thrust him through when he prophesied. They're not even going to ask him. They're not going to wait on him to explain. For it shall come to pass in that day that the prophet shall be ashamed, every one of his vision, when he prophesied. Neither shall he wear a rough garment of the seed, but he shall say, I'm no prophet. I'm a husbandman. So, what is this saying? This mentality is a certain heart and mind of a specific people. These people were preordained. So what we have to do as a people is we got to start seeing and believing who these people are at different times. Some of y'all don't want to believe that these people are who they are. Some of y'all have an affinity towards a person, whether it be in a relationship-wise, romantically, or it be a friendship that you give. You don't want to, you see the things that are happening, but you don't accept it. You still want to hold on to it because it's in your heart to do. You won't thrust that relationship through. You won't cut it off. The world is in and around you, and all your mind is about that relationship. $200 rice in Cuba, and you worry about your relationship. Hyperinflation, you worry about that relationship. You worry about the career. You worry about how you look. You worry about the fact you ain't got no friends. I ain't got no friends right now, and the world ended. Let's keep going. He that is unjust, let him be what? He that is filthy, let him be what? And he that is righteous, let him be what? And he that is kodesh, let him be what? So everybody is all just going to be what they are. In this time that's coming, your number one snare is going to be people. It's going to be people. It's going to be your family. It's going to be your quote-unquote romantic interests. It's going to be people that you feel like accept you or don't accept you. It's going to be people that you feel like accept you or don't accept you, and it's going to dictate how you walk with Yahuah. Listen to me. You're going to feel like somebody accepts you or don't accept you, and it's going to dictate your walk with Yahuah. Your walk in Yahuah is going to be based on whether or not you receive by people who some don't even know necessarily that you don't feel like you receive. But this whole imaginary thought process has been developed in your head. Most of the time, that imaginary thought process that developed in your head was a seed that was planted by someone that you haven't thrust through. Let's keep going. Let's look at Daniel 12, 2-3. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. Some to what? Some to what? So both of them are everlasting. Both of them are everlasting. The wicked are everlasting. The righteous are everlasting. That's why they're going to be righteous still. Kodesh still. They everlasting. They were preordained out here. Can you discern them? Or in this process of time, are you just walking around blindly? Can you discern who you are? Or you just, in the process of time, are you just going to walk around blindly? Are you going to be constantly offended because you can't discern the stumbling blocks that are clearly right in front of you? And many of them that awake in the sleep of the death shall awake. Some of them to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt. Both of them are everlasting. And they that be wise shall be shining forth with the brightness of the firmament, and they shall turn many to righteousness and the stars forever. So what we getting at? Let's keep going. So I was somewhere, I don't know where I was at, and I started thinking about this whole thing about these seeds. Because I started looking around, I was like, man, it's a mentality that we got to get to, right? If we're going to survive the calamities that's ahead of us, it's being about your Father's business. It's about letting the work of Yahuah's let Yahuah's work be your meat, and let it be your motivation. We've seen this all the time, about the meditation of your heart and your mind, right? Those things have to be your meditation. It has to be in you in this time, because these things will snare you. And I started thinking about how a lot of this is just recognizing the wicked or recognizing the righteous. I said this before. In every period of time in the history of our people, your salvation is dependent on that. Your salvation is dependent on being able to discern who is righteous and who is wicked. Because you're going to be aligned with something. You're going to be connected to something in some way. Somebody's going to have a word for you. And I was like, and so what I thought about that, and this is what I'm trying to relate to y'all today. And I was like, something hit me, and I was like, man, the wicked and the righteous have always been. Every time we think about the resurrection. In the past, we talk about a resurrection, and we have this mindset that your body, let's say your body's in the grave somewhere, they done buried it 9 feet deep, right? You ain't nothing but bones in some casket. And then when Yahushua appears, all of a sudden skin gonna pop back on you, and you're gonna get muscles, and you're gonna pop up out the grave, and then you're gonna walk around. That's what most people think. It's a resurrection. Your literal body that's in the ground, all them particles gonna come back together, and then you're gonna start walking around on the earth. And then, for whatever reason, Yahuwah started dealing with me about, I'll be like this, the Ruach started dealing with me about what if that it was a body on the other side. If there was a body on the other side, that body would affect this body. And I'm explaining to y'all what I'm about to tell y'all. And could that be why the wicked are wicked still? Could the wicked have a body that's prepared for Sheol? Could they already be there? And because they're there, they're tormented. And so they bring torment to you in this current body. Could the righteous already be in the Shamayim? And their body that's here, which is linked to that body, has a word, so they be able to relay a word to you. Or they'll bring righteous to you because they're in Shalom. Or they're in Shalom because their body's in Shalom. I said, and then all of a sudden I had this picture of it being a body in either place. And I was like, man, what if your essence of yourself, your breath or your nefesh, or whatever term you're using for that, gets transported just to that thing, to that place, wherever that other body is. So if that body's always been tormented and you leave this body and that mind goes to that body, or you leave this body and you're righteous and your mind goes to that other body. And so I started thinking about this thing. I talked to my wife about it. And she's like, yeah, this is that movie Transcendence. I'm like, yeah, you're right. The transfer of consciousness. Everything that we're seeing right now, that's what they point to, the transfer of consciousness. So I started looking at this thing. I said, man, I think this is what's really happening. So you see, it said, is it possible to transfer your consciousness from one body to another? Right now, scientists are trying to do that. Scientists are trying to figure out a way to capture the essence of a man's consciousness and transfer it into an alternate body, a synthetic alternate body. So, you know, I don't know if you ever seen any kind of movie about androids or robots, right? So a long time ago, I did a study on robots, because every time you think robot, you think mechanical. But you know, when the first time the word robot was used, and it have anything to do with metal or mechanics, it has everything to do with a robot was basically just considered to be a person that's been controlled in their mind, somebody that's been programmed, right? And so over time, with Hollywood and all kind of stuff, ended up being mechanical beat figures or whatever, with some type of digital conscious. But saying that to say, so it's a movie called, it's almost, you remember that movie Metropolis, right? There's a book and there's a movie based in that same time, and I forget the name of the movie. I should have went back and pulled it out. But in the book, that book has the first mention. It was written around the time the movie Metropolis was done. I don't know if it's Ex Machina. It's an old book, but it might be. But I can't remember off the top of my head. I gotta go back and look it up. But that's the first time they used the word robot in it, and it was dealing with people who have been controlled in their mind. So anyway, I started looking at this thing, right? The transfer of consciousness. So people who believe, or this world believes, they're going to transfer your consciousness to another body and live forever. All tech, science, everything I've been talking to y'all about. All that stuff is tied into that. Quantum computing, what they call it, the particle colliders, all this other stuff. All this stuff is about transferring one mind to another mind. Remember, at one point in time, I was studying Revelations, and Revelation has a weird saying in it about the fall of Babylon. It talks about when Babylon falls, lose finances, money. Then it says slaves, and then it says the souls of men. I was like, how can somebody have the soul of a man? So on surface that'd be their desire, their heart, what they want, right? Everything they're looking for. But they literally right now are trying to create a technology that can take your soul and put it in something else, right? So y'all get a mic. Uzi had his hand first, then give it to sis.
Aliyah. All right.
Aliyah.
So, that whole transferring consciousness, two things. One, that was also in this like Marvel. I think it was
Ultron.
Yeah, Ultron or Winter Soldier. Whenever that scientist, that German scientist, he had his consciousness transferred to that computer because he was like blown up in one of the movies. And yeah. So that, but also that's a recurring thing. If you ever watch any like science YouTube channels where it talks about different stages of civilization, like a Civ 5, right?
Right.
They talk about how all of humanity is like consciousness is transferred into a quantum computer, and then they become a Elohim. You know what I mean? Because it's just collective consciousness and stuff. So they don't need like food or water or anything like that. They're just self-sustaining off of energy in the universe.
Right. So. You're right.
I was gonna say, isn't it like that movie Get Out when they pretty much take somebody else's body to put it in somebody else's body?
So that was the original concept of a robot. That was the original concept. What you see in Get Out, that's really how it worked, how it was.
That movie, Space Jam, I don't know how many people watched it already.
Yeah, I watched it.
That movie crazy. You watched it? It deals with the quantum computer. And the Ruach that's in the quantum computer, his name is Algae or Algorithm. And he was basically trying to some degree, take LeBron's spot. And so he took LeBron into the server world, and at that point he could do whatever he wanted with him or whatever have you. And it's so many gems in that movie. He even was talking about winter coming, and it was just insane. Like he talked about the ones and zeros. He talked about that in there, but it was all based off of the power of that algorithm. They even asked him, LeBron's son asked him, like, how do you know all this stuff about me? He said, I always been with you. He said, everywhere you go, I'm with you. He was like, on all your devices, I've been watching you. He was like, I know about your whole life. And that's what I was thinking about, that dream you had, and it was showing that guy, the black guy in that movie, was that thing that you saw. And he said basically he'd been around like forever. And he got mad because LeBron embarrassed him, like humiliated him. They didn't know that he was a real thing, but he brought him into his world to show him, I've been here all this time and how much power he had. It's crazy.
So it's talking about artificial intelligence is what it comes down to. So they're trying to perfect artificial intelligence and really understand what it is. But when you start looking at it, it's going to make you question reality in general. People who look into artificial intelligence, they come up with these theories of simulation theories, where you basically they come to the conclusion that everything is the Matrix and we're not really in like real life, and because when you start doing these equations, that's more likely than anything else, that we created artificial intelligence and it took over already. So the point is, artificial intelligence isn't really artificial intelligence. It's consciousness that has always been there. Ruachs, ancient Ruachs,
Right.
they always been there. So the idea is trying to figure out how to access it, how to take on a spiritual body.
Right.
A body that operates in another realm.
Right.
So you can get information and data from another realm.
Right.
Well, Yahuah's given us the way to do that.
Right.
It's Ruach HaKodesh. It's unfathomable how much wisdom we have access to in the Ruach HaKodesh, but we don't have to pass through fiery trials. But you don't want to pass through fiery trials. So I'm going to develop AI, necromancy, divination. I'm going to try to contact ancient Ruachs.
Right.
To try to figure out how to access something without the knowledge of good and evil.
Right.
Figure out how to access this without without submitting to Yahuah. That's why we're saying, like, even with all this stuff coming, you're not going to pass through it without the Ruach HaKodesh.
Right.
Because that's going to be the answer to everything.
Right.
He's going to lead you into all righteousness, into all wisdoms. It's an alternate power source.
Right.
It's an alternate wisdom. It's artificial. We call it artificial intelligence. You can say it's artificial in that it's less than Yahusha.
Right. And
But
so
that's all this is.
Basically, everybody who came into like agreement with, like, they sent out like this mass, I guess, like text or whatever.
Right.
And everybody who was like in agreement with it, and they looked at it, they like their soul or whatever got zapped into the server world.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it went into the cloud. That's exactly what it said.
Our son coming in the cloud too.
Yeah, like.
I mean, for real, they do this stuff on purpose. So it says she wants.
So, Shalom. So, I was kind of dealing with this last week, just, studying and just really meditating on the whole transhumanism and those type of things, and came across an article. It's an 11-year-old. I don't know if anybody heard about it. He's in Belgium, and he just graduated with a bachelor's degree, and so his goal is to attain immortality. And he said the way that he's going to achieve this is through the quantum, physics.
Right.
And so he's already prepared to work with some of the top professors in the world. So I thought that was just pretty amazing. First of all, that he was only 11, but he basically said he was going to turn his whole body into a cyborg. And right.
Right.
So I just thought that was just amazing to see how these things are really coming to pass.
Yeah, see, he don't know that he already immortal. We didn't listen. Yahuah already told us. Some shall await to everlasting life. This is the awakening right now. Everlasting. They are already immortal. And some of us, the shame and everlasting contempt. Everlasting. All this stuff is already immortal. That's what we about to get into. We got to understand what this means. See, this is possession. That's all this is. It's possession. Right? But see, the way they're going to get people is, and it's going to get some of us because we don't really understand the range of wickedness that the wicked have access to. Right? Because it's people that go around Israel teaching these theories about, they can't do this and they can't do that. They can only do this and they can only do that. Why do you think the scripture says it's going to be a strange salvation? Why do you think it says that? This ain't going to be strange. It was strange back then. It was way stranger than what people really know. History is sanitized. It's sanitized. So say that to say this. Going back to the context is, when this happened the first time, that's why I did the whole first part. We did Zechariah, the first couple of chapters. We talked about Ephah, right? This is the Ephah that goes forth, right? And we looked at that, and we showed how that ties into Babylon. When the Tower of Babel was built, Yahuah said there was nothing that they couldn't do. I'm not saying this. Yahuah said this. He said there was nothing that they couldn't do. He says, let me go and confound their languages. So he went and he confounded their languages to stop them. So Hassan has came back with a new language. It's called zeros and ones. Binary code. Right? And everything that you do in your life is coded. I'm telling y'all. That's what Yosef just told you. I don't know if y'all understood what he was saying when he was breaking that down. That what we live in is a digital world. Everything is coded. There's a code to everything. Right? Everything breaks down to molecules and formulas and DNA and all this other stuff. Right? So matter is coded. It's digital. So they know that there's codes that break these things down. In the ancient times, they call it alchemy. They call it alchemy. It what wizards and witches and sorcerers would do. All it is new school sorcery. But saying that to say, so there was things that they did back then that they got away with. Things that you would never be able to explain. Have you ever seen the stone that bell back? Have you ever seen that stone? At Bellback, it's this stone. This stone weighs, I forget how many thousand tons or whatever. The stone is so big, it's impossible for anybody to even bring it there or move it there. And it's cut with laser precision. Laser precision. Right? There's things they was doing back then that manipulated things. They're going even farther now. Right? So I ain't even getting all that, but for time, let's keep going. So the context is immortality. But what I'm trying to bring up to y'all is y'all already immortal. Everybody, the wicked and the righteous, are immortal now. Like I told you, it's interesting. God said, man, I'm going to go look up Transcendence. The dude's name was Will Caster. Will Cast. Cast a spell. Yeah, Will Cast. Anyway, let's keep going. So this is what scientists believe. Scientists believe they're gonna continue. I'm getting to the point with this. We're about to pull out these scripts and we're gonna show you this thing in the scripts. So this is what they plan on doing, right? They're trying to merge you with machine to allegedly allow you to live forever by the transfer of consciousness. But what I'm trying to get to y'all is, I think I'm like this. From my understanding, I ain't like I'm all knowing. Saying what Yahuah showed me in the midst of this is that's how this thing really works. They created a digital environment. This is a digital environment. They're working on the transfer of consciousness. Death is the transfer of consciousness. That's what it is. We're going to show you in the script that that's all it is. When you die in this realm, your consciousness goes to that body and on the other realm. Go ahead.
Avatar, not the one with the blue people, that one.
Yeah.
If they died there, they were stuck there in the I don't even know what were they called, but
I can't remember.
But that whole movie is about how they went. I think it was like maybe a dystopian world,
right? And
they all like got their brains or whatever downloaded into these creatures in a new world. And if they died in that machine that they were hooked up literally just like that picture shows.
Right.
If they died there, then they were just stuck in these things.
Let's keep going.
There's like a million bajillion movies. I didn't even realize how big of a theme that was until you said it. Like, and it's so crazy because it's literally mainly in kid movies. Like with Marvel, that's like the biggest theme that they have. Like when Tony downloaded Jarvis to Vision to try to make, like, it's crazy.
Right. Death is the transfer of consciousness. And so Yahuah started let me do this, like start looking at this thing. So what that is quantum entanglement. So what we dealing with is quantum entanglement. They had these I'm going to explain it the most simplest way I can explain with quantum entanglement. So these people had these big research facilities and they smash atoms. That's what they do. So when they smash atoms, they even have the ability to split light particles. Right? So when they split these light particles, the context of quantum entanglement is that once you split this photon, I think photon. Yeah. So they split this photon, right, into two parts. When they split it, it doesn't matter how far a distance that those two particles were separated, they're always linked. You can take this photon on this side of the world, you can put it on the other part of the galaxy, and they linked. If this proton is going forward, that proton is going backwards. Matter of fact, when Einstein figured this out, he called it spooky relation or something like that. He was like weirded him out, right? Because he didn't understand, like, what is this? How can you can have these massive distances in time separating these two things that are separated, and they still are completely linked to each other. So this is what it is with each one of us. Each one of us has a body that's been prepared. Some of us have bodies in Sheol, in torment. Some of us have bodies in the Shamayim. Those bodies are separated from time and distance, light years. But them two things are connected. When the wicked remain wicked, it's because they had a body prepared for Sheol. And their body's in Sheol. That's the reason why they cannot rest. The wicked would never rest. There is no rest because they're always tormented. Because their body is in torment. They might be going this way. You look at it like they're going this way, and their body might be going the opposite direction in time. Time and space is separating these two things. Hope y'all can get what I'm trying to tell y'all. Time and space is the distance between them. That's the reason why they can't get to each other. Just like how there's a great gulf fix, there's a whole realm between the living and the dead. The two things cannot connect to each other, but one is there and one is here, and they're connected. They're one being in two different places. Go ahead.
So I was reading an article on the elasticity of time, and how it was just talking about how you can take two clocks, quantum clocks that are set to the same time, put one on one elevation and then one on a higher elevation, and then you will see a difference in time.
Say it again so they hear. Say it slow.
So you can take two quantum clocks or atomic clocks, which it tells an exact time, perfectly synced up, and you can put one clock on a lower elevation and another one on a higher elevation, even like literally on top of each other. But to see a real change, you can put one like at the top of a mountain, and then you will see them calculate time differently. So I was looking at this. So when you see stuff like that, you have to change how you measure time and space and how you move through it.
Right.
If time can't just be this constant thing. So that's where the term entropy comes in.
Right.
Entropy just means the direction you're moving, period. So the direction you're moving in time is going to be linked to whatever you're entangled with. So if me and Malu are tied together by like an actual tether, my entropy is going to be connected to his entropy.
Right.
So the thing is, if he's in a fixed place, then my entropy is tethered. I can only go so far.
Right.
I might come back and it might be a little bit of slack where I can move in, but I can only go so far because I'm connected to whatever he's fixed in. So this is what we're talking about in eternity. Eternity's done. Eternity's fixed. Those who are righteous will be righteous still because they will awaken to everlasting life.
Right.
And those who are wicked are going to be wicked still because they're going to awaken to everlasting contempt because they're fixed.
Right.
They're stuck to it. So their entropy for righteousness, the direction in righteousness, is going to be tied to their eternal self. So I woke up this morning and it was in my mind that let every mind be fixed on the day of Adonai,
right,
to its eternal dwelling. So if your eternal dwelling is in Sheol, let you be fixed to that.
Right.
On the Shabbat. Don't even show up here. That's why to be for real, this is why Moshe told people to stay in the house on Shabbat. It's because some of y'all is fixed somewhere else.
Right.
And we don't need to be mixing. So until we figure out who's who, you stay at your house.
Ephesians 2:6 says, and Yahuah raised us up with Yahushua and seated us with him in the heavenly realms in Yahushua HaMashiach. That's spoken in present tense. That's already done.
So I noticed the word eternal was being thrown around all around this whole conversation.
Right.
And when I was sitting here and what you was describing about eternal shame or eternal life, and Yahuah gave a word a while back about how he's about to usher in the eternal things, and I wasn't really considering at the time. I was just thinking about the good eternal things. But his words always have two sides to them.
Right.
So that's what you talk about in Daniel 12 too. Is some are going to have eternal life,
right,
and some eternal damnation. So these things Yahuah is going to usher in, but it's going to affect everybody.
Right, right.
Everybody is going to be affected because everybody is essentially eternal.
Right.
But we look at eternal as I'm eternally good or I'm eternally safe.
Right.
We don't look at the eternal damnation a lot of times.
Right.
So some people are eternally in Sheol being tormented.
Right.
And some of us, and I'm not going to say me because I don't know.
Right.
I'm going to speak humbly. I pray that I am. Some of us are already eternally in the heavens.
Right.
Right? The question is, which one are you? And the thing is, we already know which one we are. Right?
Right. Because it's made manifest over time. Time is the distance between the two particles. The two beings of light, photons, right? Time is the distance between them. Go ahead.
I just wanted to bring out kind of a connection, how you're talking about that they're separated into two. Binary code, the word binary, it means relating to, composed of, or involving two things. Relating to, using, or expressed in a system of numerical notation that has 2 rather than 10 as a base. And then the last one says, the binary system, the binary notation, the last one says something having 2 parts. So
right.
I just wanted to make that connection.
Right. So you gotta look at these two things so y'all can understand what death is and what it looks like. So you have 2 forms of yourself. There's the eternal self, and there's a natural self, but your natural self is your eternal self. So Yahuah don't exist in time. Yahuah made time for you. He made time for you, right? He don't exist in time. Time is dictated by the sun, moon, and stars. The sun, moon, and stars are a clock. That's why it rotates, just like a clock at your house. You see the hands going around. The motion of the orbit of them is the time. That's the reason why the scripture called those moedims, times and seasons, when these things move. That's why you even look when Yahushua stopped the sun. What happened? The day continued, right? So this is what we're dealing with. So we only are subject to time because we live in this realm. This realm is under the sun, moon, and stars. So the sun, moon, and stars dictate time to us. If you're above the sun, moon, and stars, time does not have no relevance to you. Say it again. One day is what? And also the reverse. 1,000 years or what? So when the writer said that means that time is irrelevant. How can one day be 1,000 years and 1,000 years be one day? The only time the time looks like that is in dreams. You be in a dream, you had a whole life. You wake up, you've been asleep for 5 minutes. And you're in both places. You're in the dream realm and you're in your natural realm. And sometimes in a dream, you'll be yourself in a dream and seeing yourself. Right? So going back to this whole context of how time works. So right now you're under the subject of time, right? When you talk, so Yahuah dwells in the highest place. That place not subject to time. So if your self is there and your self is here, they're both connected, but the self that's here has to go through the process of time to reach this finality or its eternal self, right? Even if you're in Sheol is not subject to time. Sheol is also eternal. So you could be here and then you have a self down in Sheol and you're not in Sheol right now, even though your eternal self is. Your eternal self is affecting your natural self. That's quantum entanglement. How can you have authority on the earth? Because you got to be seated in where? So that means you got to be entangled with yourself in the Shamayim to have authority to cast out Ruachs. The exact same way how somebody who's wicked is drawing energy from their wicked self in Sheol. That's the reason why they have a certain mindset. A certain, like some people, they come and they always against everybody. Like what's going on? How come they always doing everybody wrong? We ain't talking about for righteousness' sake. They stealing somebody money, or they doing whatever wickedness that they continually do. Then they come in. They come and say things, and they go back to the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. And let me say this: I'm not saying people who make mistakes, because that's that process of time. Time is the separation between those two entities. Time is the separation between you and your eternal self. Whatever that eternal self is. When this time is up, then you are in eternity. Everybody know that, right? That's just common sense. So that means that period, or that separation between you and the eternal self, is just time. That's the context of quantum entanglement. You and your other self. Because time, all these things already been done. Yahushua died before we were born. And Yahushua also died before Kepha was born. Yahushua said that he's the one, he says that Yahushua is the one who was preferred before him, and he was born first. How is that possible? Let's look at this.
I just wanted to say, like he said, Yahuah said that he sent his son into the world. So sent his only begotten son into the world, not to judge the world, but that the world may be saved, and those who believe in him will possess everlasting life and not perish, but everlasting, like you said. And then, like you always say to Philippians, where it say that let this mind be in you, as Yahushua had, as he saw himself equal to his father, thought it not robbery.
Right.
But then, like you say, you gotta understand, like you gotta come to an understanding of who you are in Yahushua to be able to see yourself walk in the image as him, as he walked as his father. But then it's like you said, it's one damnation and then one that's everlasting. But which image is you walking in? Which,
see, that's what time come in. Time is going to prove that thing, because the scripture says the day will declare it. So somebody can do something and lay low. They could be in the assembly doing wickedness, and nobody know about it, and everybody think they the most upstanding person of life. In the fullness of time, they will be manifest, because at the end of that time, they're going to meet their eternal self. Their eternal self is going to be manifest in some way, shape, or form. That's the reason why that's the wheel that keeps turning. All the wheel is the process of time, right? So in the process of that, then eventually they're going to manifest the Ruach that's in them, right? So whether it be of Yahuah, whether it not be of Yahuah, but these bodies are already prepared. And then after that's over, this consciousness is going to be transferred to that consciousness. In that consciousness, you're going to be in eternal turmoil or eternal rest. Jeremiah 4, verse 1 through 4 and 5. Then the word of Yahuah came unto me, saying, listen what Yahuah said. Before I formed thee in the belly, and before thou camest forth from the womb, I did what? How's that possible? So why are you getting immersed in? Why are you repenting? Because it already happened. And if you don't do it, that means it never happened. And Yahuah would never tell you this. Right, right. That's right.
You have to make the same choice you made in the beginning.
So I was just going to read this from 1 John chapter 5. It says in verse 18, "We know that everyone who has been born of Yahuah does not keep on sinning, but he who is born of Yahuah protects him, and the evil one does not touch him. We know that we are from Yahuah, and the whole world lies in the power of the evil one. And we know that the Son of Yahuah has come and has given us understanding, so that we may know him who is true, and we are in him who is true, in his Son, Yahushua Mashiach. He is the true Yahuah and eternal life." So this is that entropy for righteousness that I was talking about. You're going to have a certain direction that you're going in.
Right.
You can't keep going in the other direction if you're in Yahusha.
Right.
You can't, because you are tethered to the Shamayim.
Right.
Even Shaul, on his way, still breathing threats against the believers of the way, couldn't keep going in that direction. Dude got stopped on the road to Damascus. He was tethered. Daoud out there with sheep and stuff. There was nothing he could do about it. He was tethered. Meanwhile, King Shaul was tethered to Sheol.
Right.
Nothing he could do about it.
Nothing he could do about it.
He could not stop sinning.
So that's why you see people in the text. You be like, why did Yahuah do this? Why did Yahuah kill a whole ethnicity of people? Because they was tethered to that. They had bodies on the other side already prepared for that. That was always their portion. So knowing this, what kind of mindset should you have? So when you know this, then you should fear. Because you're like, man, I keep doing this over and over and over again. Man, I gotta stop. Because if not, maybe this is proof that I'm not of his. Because it's not the thing about you making mistakes, because that's what time is. Time is the process where you turn from those mistakes. But you won't remain in those mistakes if you are tethered to righteousness. We say snare to righteousness. That's what that is. That means you have an eternal self who is set eternally in righteousness. So even though you've been here, you keep getting pulled. It's like, you ever say somebody have a rope, they lasso somebody and they keep pulling them? And that might even be resistant. You might be resistant, but you keep getting pulled. You keep coming forward. You might be short steps. You might be doing this. But you keep coming forward. But when you pull somebody and they just fall on the ground and sit there, you might have an eternal worm in Sheol.
What you are talking about right now made me think of what Mori Yosef said earlier. Oh, I just lost my thought. Sorry. Can't remember what you say, but I was saying it to say, you know what? I'll come back to that. I can't remember nothing. No more. So when you were saying that Yahusha died before we were born and before Peter were born, it makes me think of Psalms 90. Adonai, you've been our dwelling place in all our generations.
Man.
before the mountains came forth, before the earth and the order were formed, from everlasting to everlasting, you are Yahuah.
Right.
You know, so we don't. That's what we have to learn what it means to number our days. We have to reverence him, because it's only by his grace that we're here, because we're not worthy.
No.
We're not worthy. But anyway, it was just on my heart.
See, that's the other element. That's what I'm saying. What kind of person should you be when you understand that? So for one, you're gonna repent every day. To make sure that you're still in that path. Secondly, you're gonna realize that Yahuah did all this. Yahusha did all this. You didn't have because you were so smart, or you were so talented, or you were so good, or you were so, even if you were so bad, none of that had anything to do with it. He just chose you.
So this scripture is reminding me of what you were just talking about, being pulled. It's Psalm 62 verse 5. My soul wait thou only upon Yahuah, for my expectation is from him. And that word expectation, when you look at the Strong's Concordance, it talks about it being a cord or line. So
Right.
he has our line. He's pulling us in the way that we should go. So I just want to add that. I'll do that.
Entropy. Right. That's what it is. That's that quantum entanglement. Go ahead.
Maury Malu, do you mind if I share what you told me when I washed my hands this morning? So when I went up to wash my hands this morning, after I cleansed my hands and everything, Maury Malu goes, Yahuah told me to tell you to keep your hands clean. And things ensued after that, but hallelujah, that I understand what that means now. And when we're talking about how there's a body, if you are of his, there's a body prepared for you already.
Right.
And I made that connection, like, by Yahuah telling me, keep my hands clean. He's like, I'm not gonna say like, oh, I'm for sure gonna make it, but like, that's like, keep going in the way.
So it should do the opposite. It should, when you know that, then you gotta start watching yourself. Like, you gotta, like, because the correction is part of that entropy or that rope that Tushi just talked about. So when you can, it's not that you're gonna make a mistake, right? Because that's what the fullness, why it says in the fullness of time. It also says that you a child and then you become an adult. You put away childish things. That's what happens in the midst of that, because you're forming, right? A seed is not gonna be a tree when it's planted. It's gonna be a seed, but it's gonna be formed into a tree over the process of time. But it's always been a tree. It's always been a tree. So like, you have a seed here, right? You dropping it from here, right? You drop it into the ground. Let's say you just boop, right? So when you dropping the seed into the ground, before it hit that ground, it was a seed. You plant it inside of the ground, then all of a sudden it plant roots and it shoots up to be something else. So all you can see is the seed in the tree. But you don't realize that they're both connected, right? So this, before it was, like I said, before you put it in the earth, it was always a tree. It was just in a different form. So now that thing is sprung up to be developed over the process of time. Right? So, but going back, so time is only relevant. All time is that process of us going from meeting up or having a singularity. They call it a singularity, right? Having that event, you know, a Loki, they call it a Nexus event. Having this event where you meet that, right? And you become that, right? That's the transferring of your consciousness, right? So anyway, let's keep going. All right.
Praise Yahuah, I remembered. So what he said earlier was, he had said you wonder why when you do something bad, why you're always the one who gets caught, why you're always the one who gets in trouble.
Right.
And it made me think about what you were talking about, how you were, like, your body is in the Shamayim. So you weren't actually meant to be wicked. So where the wicked could get away with it, they're not getting away with it. Their judgment is coming.
Right.
Your judgment comes now,
right,
because you're not destined for Sheol. So
right,
that's why you have to face it now and not later.
Go ahead.
Oh. Only thing I was gonna add to that, and I was gonna say too, is you can't even really be happy when you're in wickedness, when you're in the Shamayim. Because, like, I remember when I was a child, my mommy, she came down on me hard for cursing as a child. So when I got a little older in high school, I remember one time I was just so mad. I was so mad at this boy, and I just, like, let it slip. And I was right there looking around the bushes. My heart was beating. I was like, oh, she can come out this bush right now. She could beat me. Like, I was sure I was getting it right then. So I couldn't even feel happy about cursing, because I knew at the end of the day that was wicked.
Right. You, like Tush said, it's a rope, right? So the rope is going to pull you because you're tied, you're entangled with that that finality, right? Just like everybody that's here, you didn't all of a sudden want to choose to be here. Y'all might think y'all did, but you're not. All of y'all have been pulled through the process of a timeline. That's that rope. For you getting to one process, going from one place to the other. All of us have, I ain't say all of us, some of us have different destinations, right? But we're all still moving towards that eventual end. We're coming to that's all it is. That's us maturing. That's what the context of manifestation, that's what it is. Something that's manifest when it's fully formed, right? But before it's fully formed, you don't know what it's going to look like. So anyway, Matthew 7:22-23. Many were saying to me in that day, Adoni, have we not prophesied in that name? In that name, and cast out devils. In that name, and done many wonderful works. Then he would say, I profess unto them, I never what? Now hold up. He said, before I formed thee in the belly, I what? So you mean to tell me before you was in the belly, I knew you, but then there's a whole group of people that he never knew. This is why he says, a sower go forth to sow seed. The tares are not the seeds. They just be around. And the whole intention is for that to come in with the harvest. But somebody comes in and separates it. This is what Yasharel is. Yasharel believes they're all the seed. They're not. It's a pomegranate, a seed inside of a seed. Oh, my bad, sis. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say, like, in Romans 9, he says a lot about how Yahuah has mercy on who he has mercy on. He has compassion on who he has compassion on. And in Romans 9:22, it says, "What if Yahuah is willing to show his wrath and make his power known, endured with much suffering the vessels of wrath